Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Diana Emerson Today. We are listening to the most insane twists, cases, true stories.
And it is an intriguing area with several notable features. One interesting aspect is its rich agricultural heritage. Known as the seed corn capital of the world, Fairfield has a long-standing tradition of seed production. According to the FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting (UCR) program, the violent crime in Fairfield, Indiana in 2022 was 2.2 per thousand residents, which is lower than the national average of 4.5 per thousand residents. The number of people who have disappeared in Fairfield, Indiana in recent years is relatively low. According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, there have been 10 people reported missing from Fairfield since 2018. Of these, 8 have been found safe and 2 remain missing. But it was here in this relatively peaceful county that Caitlin Markham was nowhere to be found in 2011. Caitlin Markham was born on August 16, 1990, in Hamilton County, Ohio. Little is known about her early life, but she studied graphic arts while also working at a bridal shop. Caitlin had a bright and cheery personality. She always wanted everyone around her to be happy and in a good mood. In 2010, 20-year-old Caitlin got engaged to 22-year-old John Carter, her long-term boyfriend. After she finished school, Caitlin and her fiancé, Carter, planned to move to Colorado. They'd been together for 6 years and engaged for 1, but an unexpected tragedy was awaiting to shock them. 3 days prior to Caitlin Markham's 21st birthday, on August 13, 2011, was the last time she was seen. Her fiancé, Carter, said he saw her around midnight on the 13th, but then couldn't get in touch with her all the next day. Gripped by panic, Carter also reached out to Caitlin's father, David Markham, and told him that Caitlin was missing.
He immediately screamed into the phone, "Caitlin's missing."
On the evening of August 14, 2011, the 911 emergency helpline received a call from Carter.
Careful 911, where's your emergency? Hi, my name is John Carter. I know that you're not supposed to report a missing person after before 24 hours, but my fiance is missing. I can't find her anywhere. Okay, where did you see her last? I saw her at like 12 o'clock last night. The car is still there. The purse is still. Okay, and you're out there now? I'm heading out there now. I have been trying to get a hold of her, and I decided to go by her house to see if she was okay, and the car was still there, which is why I'm like really freaking out. Okay, you guys didn't have an argument or anything? Not at all. And the Sacred Heart Festival is going on right up the street, and there's a lot of questionable people there.
It had been 18 hours since John Carter claimed to have last seen his fiancée, Caitlin Markham. When David heard the news, consumed by worry, he hurried to his daughter's place. There he was met by Fairfield Police Department's Detective Rebecca Irvin, who had arrived swiftly in response to the distressing situation. Upon entering Caitlin's condo, Irvin began her thorough investigation, meticulously examining every corner. Yet nothing stood out as a clear indicator of what had transpired. There were no signs of forced entry, and no traces of a struggle within Caitlin's bedroom.
There's no signs of forced entry into the house. We check the doors, check the windows, check everywhere. There's nothing that's jumping out. There's no signs of a struggle.
As the investigators from the Fairfield Police Department delved deeper, they made a discovery. Caitlin's purse and car keys were found abandoned in the middle of her bed. The bedroom also harbored Caitlin's loyal companion, Murphy, her dog who had been locked in the room. It struck them as odd, since they were told that Caitlin had never locked up her beloved pet before this. Her purse and car keys were placed in the center of the bed, a detail that Detective Irvin couldn't ignore.
The dog had been locked in her bedroom, which she's not usually locked in the bedroom, and he had gone to the bathroom in there. Her purse and her keys were smack dab in the middle of her bed. If I'm going to bed, I don't put something right in the middle of it. Nothing seemed to make any sense at all.
It struck her as peculiar, since one doesn't typically arrange belongings like that before settling in for the night. The Fairfield police thought that something was amiss. Testimonies from friends and family further emphasized the oddness of the situation. as it was entirely out of character for Caitlin to go out without notice. With just 3 weeks remaining until her graduation from art school, her engagement to Carter, and their imminent move to Colorado, she appeared genuinely content and brimming with excitement for the future.
This was not for her not to call anybody or not to do anything. I felt something was wrong.
So, nobody could understand why Caitlin would run away from home. In the midst of this, the suspense surrounding Caitlin's mysterious disappearance grew. 20 heartbreaking months passed without a clue. But then, finally, there was a break in the case. On April 7th, 2013, a husband and wife were scavenging for metal to recycle along Big Cedar Road in Franklin County, Indiana. As they searched, they stumbled upon a startling discovery.
Just digging through this little area here, picking up some metal and here, found a jawbone right on the other side of that little tree right there, right between those two little trees. Wives that were looking for metal to recycle along the Big Cedar Road in Franklin County, Indiana. While they were searching for the metals, they located some human bones. I was called to investigate the remains.
Alarmed, they promptly alerted the authorities, who arrived to investigate the remains. The site where the bones were found was in Indiana, nearly 25 miles away from Caitlin's townhome, tucked amidst discarded trash in a not-so-known dumping area. Crime scene investigators cleared away debris, uncovering multiple bones, including a skull and jawbone. Their attention was drawn to a protruding tooth that caught their eye, an easily recognizable feature. Reacting swiftly, one of the county sheriff's deputies reached for his phone, searching for any missing persons.
When we were looking at the skull, we noticed a tooth that was protruding, pretty identifiable. And so one of the county sheriff's deputies, he got on his phone and started looking for anybody that was missing.
In a stroke of luck, Caitlin Markham's photo appeared as the first result. Comparing it to her missing report, they couldn't help but notice the striking resemblance, particularly the distinctive protruding tooth. The local forensic anthropologist confirmed the positive identification of the remains as belonging to Caitlin Markham.
When we looked at the picture of her missing report, we could almost identify her directly from her teeth.
2 days later, the pastor and detectives solemnly shared the heartbreaking news with Caitlin's father.
A couple of days later, I get a knock on the door from the pastor and the detective, and I knew what they were there to tell me.
But how in the world did Caitlin end up dead in a trash heap in Indiana, 25 miles away from her native place? In the small town of Fairfield, Ohio, the residents were desperate for answers regarding the unsolved mysteries surrounding Caitlin's disappearance. 3 years after the death of Caitlin, in 2014, unexpectedly, an anonymous donor, with no personal connection to the case, but a deep desire for justice and solving unresolved puzzles, made a generous donation. This individual, driven by the wish to do something kind before their own passing, provided a substantial sum of money to help with the case. With the infusion of funds, David Markham hired private investigator J. Ryan Green to re-examine the case.
He's an individual that wanted to do something nice for somebody before he died, is what he told me. Felt Caitlin needed an outside investigator to come in and take a fresh look at the case.
The donor believed that Caitlin's situation required an outsider's perspective to shed new light on the matter. Starting afresh, Green began by carefully listening to the 911 call made by John Carter on the night he reported Caitlin missing. Listening to the call, he learned that Carter had conveyed information that did not sound entirely truthful to the sharpened ears of private investigator Green.
Car is still there. The person's still there. Like, just been trying to get a hold of her. Like, trying to go by her house to see if she was okay. And the car was still there, which is why I'm, like, really freaking out.
During the 911 call, Carter informed the operator that Caitlin's car and purse were present at her home. However, when asked if he was there, he stated that he was on his way. This discrepancy raised a question in Green's mind. How could Carter know about the car and purse if he hadn't arrived at the scene yet? Additionally, Green highlighted that Carter mentioned visiting Caitlin's house after running an errand before making the 911 call. This sequence of events seemed puzzling. Why would someone prioritize running an errand before expressing panic and seeking immediate help? After this, Green emphasized another portion of the call where Carter said that he and Caitlin did not have a fight or any argument.
Okay, and you guys didn't have an argument or anything? Not at all.
Green was aware that Caitlin's best friend Michelle had provided a contrasting account of events, saying that Caitlin and Carter had an argument 2 days prior.
I knew that they were fighting, and when he was like on the 911 tape when he was saying that they hadn't been arguing at all, I'm just like, why would you lie about that part of it?
The question arose, why would Carter fabricate that particular detail? The Markham family's attorney, who had prior experience as a firefighter and paramedic, listened to the 911 call and made an observation.
No barking. Lulu. Sorry.
However, on John Carter's
Lulu.
it seemed more like an informative report.
I have heard my share
Jeez.
of 911 calls. I've made 911 calls. And a 911 call is usually a call for help. That's what it is.
Duh.
Call for help. John Carter's call was a call to inform.
And the Sacred Heart Festival is going on right up the street. And
Okay.
there's a lot of questionable people there.
The lawyer also pointed out that Carter quickly put forward a theory, suggesting that some individuals at the carnival had taken his girlfriend.
He immediately offered up a theory. You noticed an hour ago that your girlfriend isn't where she's supposed to be, and the car needs to took her? I mean, that's it.
However, this accusation seemed like a significant leap without substantial evidence. In short, Carter called 911 to inform them about a possible crime when he should have just stuck with the disappearance. Eventually, Caitlin's fiancé underwent a voice stress analysis test, which reportedly yielded inconclusive results. He also took 2 polygraph tests, but the authorities did not disclose the outcomes, as it was still too early to draw any conclusions. Meanwhile, private investigator Green placed significant importance on the location where Caitlin's body was discovered, considering it a crucial piece of the puzzle. The location where Caitlin's remains were discovered turned out to be an illegal dump site.
No.
This meant that only a few people would be
Would
familiar
know.
with its existence.
Yes.
This was an illegal dump site where she was found. So somebody knew about the dump site and somebody just tossed her here like a piece of trash.
However, someone who was aware of it chose to dispose of Caitlin's remains there. In an insane turn of events, investigator Green made a significant discovery during his inquiry. He uncovered information indicating that the Carter family owned property in the vicinity of the dumping site. The proximity between the illegal dump site and John Carter's family home led Green to believe that this connection was more than just a mere coincidence.
It troubles me a lot to know that, the Carter family has property in this area.
The road leading to the dump site aligned with the route John Carter would have taken to reach his family's property. This fact caught Green's attention.
This road is in close proximity to where John Carter would have traveled to go to his family's property.
Furthermore, police investigators held the belief that Caitlin met her demise in Ohio, and her body was subsequently dumped in Indiana. Based on his investigation, Green developed a theory regarding the involvement of an accomplice in moving Caitlin's body. He focused his attention on Brad Von Bargen, a friend of Carter's who was present at Caitlin's apartment on the night she went missing, along with Carter. Notably, Brad had left the apartment earlier than Carter on the night Caitlin disappeared.
There was a friend at Caitlin's apartment besides John Carter the last night she was seen. That friend left a little earlier than John did.
sensational, Green discovered that Brad had sold his cherished car, which he referred to as his baby, shortly after Caitlin's remains were found in 2013. When questioned about the rushed sale, Brad claimed it was due to his urgent need to travel to North Carolina.
He drove a car that he referred to as his baby. And I found out that he no longer had his baby. He sold it in 2013, just after Caitlin was found. He sold it in a rush and said that he needed to leave to go to North Carolina.
Delving further into the matter, Green managed to track down the car, the green 1997 Hector, which Brad had been driving on the night he departed from Caitlin's home. The authorities conducted a luminol test on the car. To everyone's surprise, they discovered traces of blood in the trunk area.
I had it sent to police as a crime scene. They did a luminol test. There was evidence of blood in the trunk area.
This significant finding implicated the man, Brad Von Bargen, whom Green believed was the second to last person to have seen Caitlin Markham alive. Unfortunately, this potential breakthrough in the case came too late. The car had been cleaned using shampoos and detergents, which can compromise DNA and blood evidence, as Green pointed out.
I obtained a vehicle almost 4 years later. You have extreme cold in Cincinnati, and you have hot weather with the cleaning of the vehicle, shampooing. That messes with DNA. That messes with blood.
And so, even after finding blood, the authorities couldn't determine whose blood it was. Despite Green's suspicions, the Fairfield Police Department did not consider Brad to be involved. Detective Irvin clarified that no one could be officially cleared as the investigation was still ongoing. Green remained frustrated by the fact that the car had not been tested at the time of Caitlin's disappearance, and consequently, the car angle was no longer a viable lead. Sometime later, Green obtained crucial evidence in the form of cell phone records from the night Caitlin disappeared. These records, according to investigator Green, contradicted previous statements made by John Carter to the police. To further delve into the matter, Carter and his mother Karen joined Green and his team for an interview. Investigator Green meticulously compared cell phone records with Carter's previous interviews regarding the night Caitlin disappeared. The first inconsistency investigated by Green was a text message that Carter claimed to have sent Caitlin, saying good morning on the day she went missing. However, the cell phone records obtained by Green indicated that no such message was sent. When confronted with this discrepancy, Carter insisted that he did send the text.
But according to Fairfield Police, or according to my phone records, I didn't send her anything. I could have sworn that I sent her a message.
Carter's mother interjected and pointed out another anomaly in the cell phone records: the absence of the 911 call made by Carter. She rightly observed that if the 911 call was missing from the records, the text message incident could also be a result of a glitch or discrepancy.
He made. Nobody's questioning that, and yet it doesn't show up. How can we say that just because something else isn't showing up, that there wasn't something else?
Moving on, investigator Green turned his attention to a phone call Carter made to his friend Matt on the night Caitlin vanished. Carter's statements to the police indicated that he was on the phone with Matt while driving up to Caitlin's townhome. He claimed to have noticed her car in the driveway, which raised concerns.
Stop sign's here. You turn the corner, you go up to the drive, and you park, walk across. Is that the way you remember it? Okay.
However, a crucial detail emerged from the cell phone records. Carter ended the call with Matt, and just 38 seconds later, dialed Caitlin's father, David Markham, in a panicked state, declaring that Caitlin was missing.
Calling David Markham 38 seconds after you hung up with Matt. You wouldn't have even had time to go in the house for 38 seconds. If you're in the parking lot, you wouldn't have had a chance to even go into Caitlin's room in 38 seconds.
The timeline presented a significant inconsistency. According to Green's analysis, it would have been impossible for Carter to park, enter Caitlin's house, search her room, and then call her father within a mere 38 seconds. The limited time frame suggested that Carter already knew Caitlin was gone before entering the house. Although Carter claimed not to remember the exact order of his phone calls, the cell phone records presented a clear sequence of events.
In my investigative opinion, that he knew she was gone prior to him going into the house.
Green believed that the records strongly indicated that Carter had prior knowledge of Caitlin's absence before entering the house. There were more discrepancies in the investigation of Caitlin Markham's death. David Markham was frustrated by these because, with the help of Green, he found out many details that the Fairfield Police Department could have acted upon, but chose not to. David and Green wondered whether there was a miscommunication with the police department itself. On December 18, 2015, David Markham held a press conference urging the transfer of the murder investigation of Caitlin to the Butler County Sheriff's Office. Markham requested the Butler County Sheriff Richard Jones to lead the investigation, but Jones decided to collaborate with the city police instead of taking it over completely. On August 16th, on what was Markham's 27th birthday, her family and friends came together at the Springfield Cinema Deluxe
I know
for the
you're
premiere of
looking
a
at
documentary called Taken Too Soon, the
Eddie.
Caitlin Markham Story. It was directed by Michael Crisp.
No, I
They
don't
hoped that the
need
documentary
medicine. I'm
would
gonna
provide
get
further
that
insights into the
a little
details
later.
surrounding
Okay. Oh,
We want people
okay.
to get to
Dinner.
know her instead
Dinner.
of just getting to know the face that was on
Come on.
all of these missing posters.
this heightened.
Okay. Hey, Lulu. Hey,
2016, the police took
Eddie,
news
no
of another
worries.
murder in Fairfield itself. Back in 2014, 15-year-old Chelsea Jones was stabbed to death.
No worries.
The killer was released due to a lack of evidence. But again, the police did not arrest the person of interest due to a lack of evidence. The investigation continued, but it was leading nowhere. However, the police did not announce the case to be closed, so the case never officially went cold. In the month of July 2019, 23-year-old Ellie Week went missing in Fairfield, and the police asked everyone to come in and help. On August 24, 2019, Week's body was found. It was similar to what had happened in Caitlin's case. The police arrested a suspect known to be Michael Strauss. After hearing this information, David Markham went on social media to post that there was no doubt that these two cases had a connection, and Strauss should be a suspect in Caitlin's case too. On August 28, 2019, the police did a 10-minute press conference just to say that there was no connection between the two cases. And Caitlin's case was once again put on the back burner. However, Michael Strauss was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison. On January 23, 2020, the Butler County Prosecutor's Office chose Michael T. Peloso as the lead investigator in the ongoing investigation. On August 18, 2020, the authorities took a drive from the illegal dumping site to Caitlin's townhome. They found two main routes to reach there. They also found that John Carter's father owned some properties around that area. There's a specific site called Kokomo Hill where the Carters owned property. The Big Cedar Road, where Caitlin's remains were found, fell in between Carter's home and Kokomo Hill. Carter had previously revealed that Caitlin sometimes went to parties at Kokomo Hill, where she used to hang out with Carter and his friends, specifically a friend named Jonathan Palmerton. Surprisingly, it was on August 18th itself that the authorities also found black-colored plastic sheets and landscaping materials at John Carter's residence. It seemed similar to the material in which Caitlin's remains were wrapped in. On October 8, 2020, the authorities spoke to the president of Advanced Laminated Housing Structures, whose company built the Kokomo Hill property for the Carters. He compared both the materials and confirmed that while the materials found at Carter's home and the material used to wrap Caitlin's body were similar, they were not an exact match. But while interviewing different experts in the industry, Moser found that this material was not something that a homeowner would normally possess. It was usually something that industry professionals would use. This material was also very durable, which is why Caitlin's remains were found inside of it even after 20 months had passed. The material had even endured a water stream that flowed near the dumping site. On January 28, 2021, John Carter was called again to take the polygraph tests. The investigators concluded that his answers were again deceptive. He'd also given deceptive answers in his previous polygraph tests. On March 29th and 30th, 2022, the police interviewed two teenage boys separately. They were Caitlin's neighbors. On the night of Caitlin's disappearance, both the teenage boys had snuck out of their house to go to the Sacred Hearts Festival and witnessed two vehicles, including a red Ford Focus believed to be driven by John Carter, entering the driveway and the garage of the house. It was around 2 a.m. The cars had their lights off, and they stayed in the garage briefly before leaving. This behavior raised suspicion, as intentionally driving without headlights is a red flag for law enforcement. The red Ford Focus, confirmed to belong to Carter through registration and his admission, was in the garage for about 5 to 15 minutes before heading out. On April 14, 2022, the police interviewed Jonathan Palmerton, who was a longtime friend of Carter's. He was also interviewed in 2011 and 2012. Both the interviews were compared, and the police found out that Palmerton had changed his statements and was being deceptive. On December 22, 2022, Moser interviewed a private investigator. Apparently, on August 16, 2011, 2 days after Caitlin's disappearance, Carter had called this private investigator and asked if she'd be interested in investigating the case. Carter had also asked her about the steps taken by the police in a murder investigation. The private investigator said that during their conversation, Carter talked about Caitlin in the past tense. This indicated that Carter already knew that Caitlin was dead, but her remains would not be found until 20 months after this conversation. From all these clues, it looked like the investigation was going in the right direction, and Carter appeared to be a suspect. On February 17, 2023, the Butler County Common Pleas Court ordered a search warrant to search John Carter's mother's residence that he'd lived in until 2021. They found drawing of angels in the woods in his home, and also surreal poetries written about death. These poems were in reference to a loved one, which they believed to be Caitlin Markham. It was on this day that the first arrest in the Caitlin Markham case was made. The police arrested Jonathan Palmerton on the counts of perjury, as he'd lied to the investigators. Then, on March 22, 2023, the police arrested John Carter, suspecting him to be involved in the disappearance of Caitlin Markham. Following the grand jury's indictment for the murder of Caitlin Markham, John Carter was captured on body camera footage as he was taken into custody. At first, he expressed willingness to speak with detectives, but later he changed his mind and requested a lawyer. Carter entered a plea of not guilty and was released on a $1 million bond. The prosecutor in the case revealed that several writings were discovered in John Carter's home, addressing themes of love and death. One particular passage found stated, "Deep down, I love her. You want to kill her, but I love her. She must die." Another message was scribbled on a door saying, "I slit your wrists with the key to your heart." Caitlin Markham's father, Dave Markham, who'd waited a long time for this, thought that they were finally on the right track.
I've been let down too many times there to get too encouraged. It is a positive move. It is a good thing. But it's still not over. It's not solved.
After the news of the arrest, David expressed his feelings about Caitlin and Carter's relationship. He said that Caitlin had desired to move to Colorado alone and had been feeling burdened by her partner. He added that she took on all the planning and expenses, while Carter didn't save money or contribute. Frustrated and unhappy, she wanted to end the relationship due to the pain, trouble, and lack of commitment. The search warrant affidavit that was unsealed in late April 2023 revealed a great deal of information surrounding the case. It mentioned that there were claims stating that John Carter and another person, whose name was redacted, disposed of Caitlin Markham's body. The police were seeking a warrant to search his mother's house for black plastic or construction and landscaping sheeting, which they believed was used to wrap Caitlin's body. While finding such material was not definitive proof, it was significant evidence that aligned with the prosecution's case. However, it was important to consider that individual possession of the material didn't imply guilt in the murder case. When solving cases like this, which had been ongoing for almost 12 years, circumstantial evidence played a crucial role in putting together the puzzle and gaining a clearer understanding of what transpired. The affidavit also revealed that during the police interview conducted on the day Caitlin Markham was reported missing and the following day, police had observed red vertical scratches on John Carter's neck. He attributed them to shaving. However, the police said that it was really unlikely that an electric razor could have caused the scratches, as Carter claimed. In addition to this, friends who were with Carter and Caitlin on the night before she disappeared stated they hadn't seen any scratches on him. Around the time of Caitlin Markham's disappearance, there were plans for her and Carter to move to Colorado, but it was believed that she was becoming less interested in their relationship and that things weren't going well between them. John's mother even offered to co-sign a credit card application for Caitlin if she agreed to take him to Colorado, but it seemed she declined and didn't proceed with the application. This information provides insight into the dynamics between Caitlin and John at the time of her disappearance. According to her friends, Caitlin expressed feeling trapped, losing attraction towards John, and being concerned about his drug use and unconventional sexual desires. These details, among others, could help build a strong case against John Carter when he goes to trial. At this stage, John Carter maintains his innocence. He's been released on a $1 million bond, and his trial is scheduled for June 2024. There may be upcoming court appearances for status hearings or related matters. It's not surprising to many that John Carter was later charged with Caitlin's murder, although some people were taken aback. It took 11 and a half years for charges to be filed, which is disappointing, as he had the freedom to carry on with his daily life, while Caitlin was denied that opportunity.
You're still the only one.
The evidence against him is substantial, and it's a relief that the suspicions were not unfounded.
Okay, now
go away. Do you think that John Carter will be found guilty?
No.
Or do you think that pieces of evidence against him are still
go
not
away.
substantial
Go
for
away.
sentencing?
Go.
On September 25th, 1994, in the quiet town of Jonesboro, Georgia, Douglas Overstreet, a 37-year-old well-regarded police lieutenant, vanished without a trace after a camping trip, leaving his loved ones and the community in a state of distress. The investigation took a startling twist when an unexpected passerby stumbled upon a lifeless body bearing the chilling signs of a heinous crime near Lake Thurmond. As detectives embarked on their search for answers, they uncovered a web of lies, revealing a disturbing truth. Who was behind the gruesome act? What dark secrets led to this devastating outcome? This case takes us to Jonesboro, a charming suburban city in Clayton County, Georgia, located about 15 miles south of downtown Atlanta. With a rich history dating back to the early 1800s, Jonesboro has transformed into a dynamic community with a diverse population. It offers a blend of residential areas, commercial districts, and natural beauty. The city boasts numerous parks, cultural attractions, and local businesses, providing ample opportunities for recreation and entertainment.
I said that's enough.
Despite this, however, the crime rate in Clayton County is about 50% higher than the U.S. average. It was also the setting of a heinous crime that took place in September 1994.
I said that's enough.
Let's first go back to the beginning, when Douglas Lee Overstreet entered this world on April 10, 1957.
He grew up in northwest Atlanta in a working-class neighborhood, and all he ever wanted to do was be a police officer.
He was the first child of Awen Leroy Overstreet and Inez Brannon Overstreet, a family filled with love and adventure. In the Overstreet household, young Douglas had two younger siblings to share his journey with. Edith Overstreet, the youngest sibling, who was 10 years younger than Douglas, and Michael Overstreet, the middle son, who was 6 years younger than Douglas. Douglas Overstreet was known as Doug by those who knew him. At 37 years old, he held a prominent position as a lieutenant in the Atlanta Police Department, instilling a sense of safety and order within the community.
People go into police work for different reasons. A lot of people just want to have the power to push people around. That was not Doug. Doug was there because he wanted to help people.
In addition to his law enforcement duties, Doug embraced a part-time role as a security guard at the lively Rio Bravo bar in Buckhead. But there was more to Doug than his professional life. He was passionate about adventure, and whenever he had time, he used to venture into the wilderness, indulging in his passion for camping. Armed with a camera, he loved to capture the beauty of his surroundings as a precious memory. With his gentle and friendly nature, Doug made it a point to connect with his neighbors, often extending warm invitations for tea and heartfelt conversations. In the year 1984, Doug, at the age of 27, found love and companionship when he married Candace Overstreet, a 40-year-old woman who already had two daughters.
Candace had two daughters from a previous marriage. They were small children when he and Candace got married, so Doug was pretty much the father figure in their life.
Their blended family included Brandy Overstreet, the elder daughter at 21 years old, who preferred the comforts of home and had a more introverted nature. Keisha Overstreet, on the other hand, was a vibrant 19-year-old college student. Douglas cherished his role as a stepfather, forming strong bonds with both Brandy and Keisha. Whenever he returned home, he'd bring thoughtful gifts to show his affection and make them feel special. On September 25, 1994, Doug eagerly embarked on a solo trip. However, as evening approached, Doug had not yet made his way back, as he was expected to return home by evening. As the hours ticked by and nightfall loomed, the growing unease settled upon the household, for there was no sign or communication from Doug. Growing increasingly worried, the family launched an extensive search, leaving no stone unturned in their efforts to find him. However, despite their best efforts, Doug remained elusive. It wasn't until 3 days later, on September 28, 1994, that his wife, Candace, reported him missing. An officer was sent to their residence in Jonesboro, Georgia, to speak with Candace and gather the complete account about Doug's disappearance.
She went ahead, went to bed, and when she woke up the next morning, he wasn't there. By the afternoon, when he didn't show up, she started to worry.
Candace informed the officer that Doug had embarked on a camping trip 3 days earlier, but there had been no communication or update since then.
Big question was, well, where's Doug? She says, I don't know.
We went to the Georgia Tech game on Saturday, and then the last time that I saw him was when he was leaving that night.
She contacted Doug's friends and employers, yet none of them had any information to share. However, the officer found it slightly peculiar that Candace had waited for 3 days before reporting Doug's disappearance.
On Monday the 26th and maybe Tuesday the 27th, it was, I would say, more concern and worry and curiosity. But then by Wednesday, she was getting angry because I think she believed he ran off with a woman.
Typically, spouses would promptly reach out to authorities, either on the same night or at least by the following morning, expressing concern for their missing partners. Intrigued by this aspect, the officer gently inquired about the nature of their relationship, hoping to uncover any potential underlying factors that might shed light on the unusual delay. But according to Candace, their marriage was nothing short of perfect, and Doug had a strong bond with his stepdaughters. However, she revealed that Douglas had been facing challenges in his professional life, such as being overlooked for a promotion and being caught up in the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, GBI, inquiry involving his unit.
He'd been up for a promotion, and I don't think he had gotten the promotion, and he was struggling with whether he should leave the department or stay.
Candace expressed her fear that these difficulties might have driven Doug to contemplate taking his own life, leaving investigators with a haunting possibility to consider.
I believe some of the officers thought that there was a chance he might have taken his own life.
Oh, God, you don't think he would have done something, do you? Yeah, I don't want to think.
Investigators wasted no time in launching their investigation and started with interviewing the neighbors. They were hoping to uncover any hints of unusual activity or a glimpse of something out of the ordinary that they would have noticed on that fateful September day in 1994.
There's not a lot that you can do proactively other than posting the lookout of Doug and his vehicle.
However, despite their efforts, the neighbors appeared as clueless as the investigators themselves and were unable to shed any light on the mysterious events of that day. The police left no stone unturned in their search for Doug, as they meticulously scoured every place he was known to visit, and also issued an all-points bulletin for his truck. Given his position as the head of the burglary unit, investigators didn't ignore the possibility that he might have made enemies. However, as they delved into his files and investigated his past, nothing much emerged to indicate that he'd become a target of anyone's revenge. The absence of any glaring clues or motives only deepened the mystery surrounding Doug's disappearance. After 2 days, on September 30th, 1994, Doug's truck was discovered in the long-term parking of the bustling Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport.
The vehicle of a missing Atlanta police officer was found today in the long-term parking at Hartsfield Airport.
The truck was in long-term parking at the Atlanta airport. The Atlanta police had found it out there.
The authorities promptly photographed the truck at the airport before carefully transporting it to a secure warehouse.
I said, you know, they found his truck at the airport. We heard that on the news. And I said, maybe he just got on a plane. And I kept trying to just run through scenarios of where could he possibly have gone.
When the truck was found at the airport, that kind of confirmed the suspicions that he had taken off.
Inside, they meticulously combed through every inch, searching for any potential clues that could shed light on Doug's whereabouts. As they dusted for fingerprints and examined the vehicle for other evidence, the fingerprints they discovered belonged not to an unknown suspect, but to Doug's own family members. However, the presence of the fingerprints from the family on their house vehicle was not unusual, and they dismissed any possibility of them being involved. At this point, the FBI stepped in to lend their expertise to the case. A detective from the Clayton County Police Department revealed that the involvement of the FBI brought a new level of resources and capabilities to the search for answers. With the discovery of Doug's truck at the airport, law enforcement began considering the possibility that he might have taken a flight, either willingly or under pressure.
She follows him all over the place. She calls him all the time. She shows up at his off-duty work, and then he may have just been fed up and just disappeared.
Missing persons cases are difficult in that respect because it can be anything and it can be nothing.
On October 1st, 1994, the investigation took another shocking turn when a passerby stumbled upon the lifeless body of a naked man in Lake Thurmond, near the Georgia-South Carolina border. The police reported the grim details of the scene, and that the victim had been mercilessly shot.
It appeared that the body had been in the water a couple of days. There were 15 gunshot wounds.
Oh, wow. Somebody really wanted him dead, huh?
Whoever did this was full of anger.
The Atlanta team working on Doug's case swiftly made their way to South Carolina. Using fingerprints, they confirmed the devastating truth. The body belonged to none other than Douglas Overstreet. Detectives began their homicide investigation by focusing on the placement and number of gunshot wounds on Doug's body.
It wasn't just your normal person shot 1 or 2 times. This person shot multiple times.
It was almost like a angry criminal that he'd put in prison, or maybe a family member of a criminal that he'd put in prison.
This isn't just somebody, going off on a lark. This is serious.
Surprisingly, it was revealed that at least 4 of the wounds were concentrated near his inner thigh, which hinted towards a deeply personal and potentially sinister motive behind the tragic event. When the police informed Candace about Doug's tragic death, that's when something strange happened.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Overstreet. We're here to talk to you about your husband.
And we told Candace that we had found Doug.
Her facial expressions gradually changed as she seemed nervous, like any of her wrong deeds had finally been caught. She pretended to be distraught and showed signs of being distressed. However, the investigators noticed the sudden change in her expression and started questioning about more information about Doug and his relations. That's when her story started to unravel. Initially, she portrayed their marriage as perfect, but later she changed her tune. She admitted to suspecting Doug of having an affair, implying that their seemingly flawless relationship had hidden cracks.
So was there a particular event that led you to believe that Doug might have run off with another woman?
These revelations prompted detectives to dig more into this complex web of secrets and into the true nature of Doug and Candace's marriage and its potential relevance to his untimely demise. As the investigation progressed, police discovered some evidence which indicated that Doug might have been involved in a relationship with a woman he met while working at Rio Bravo. But no further information was revealed about the woman by police.
Seemed like they knew each other from before, but maybe she recognized him from here. Doug's been working here every Friday and Saturday night for the past 7 years.
Doug's co-workers confirmed to investigators that Candace was aware of his social activities, like his networking events, and what he used to do whenever he was out, and to whom he met.
he was really one of those guys who probably should have been a police officer because he never got violent, even in places other officers have said everybody would have reacted violently as a police officer. Always calm, cool, and collected. Just an all-around good man.
However, despite pursuing this lead, authorities were unable to identify any new suspects in connection with the case. On October 2nd, 1994, the medical report from Doug's autopsy was also released. In it, some startling findings emerged, revealing that not one, but two different firearms had been used in the shooting. The autopsy report identified the weapons as a 9mm and a 38mm pistol. Police again contacted Candace at her home to see if she could uncover any new insights into the case. To their surprise, Candace revealed that Doug had expensive habits, such as enjoying fine dining experiences and traveling frequently, and had accumulated debt. But she had no knowledge of the source of the loans.
His mother would call me. She said, Doug's getting a lot of return checks. You know, you could tell by the envelope what they were, and he would get as many as 6 in one day.
Detectives questioned why she hadn't disclosed this crucial information earlier, to which Candace explained that she didn't want to tarnish Doug's reputation by discussing his financial troubles. Investigators even looked into Doug's financial records, hoping to uncover any possible links to his mysterious fate.
Doug had borrowed money from friends and not repaid, and his salary was being garnished.
According to Frederick, Douglas's friends claimed that he borrowed money in order to appease his wife. However, despite all the leads, investigators couldn't establish a direct connection between his financial struggles and his untimely demise.
Clear paper trail. Every interaction they ever had with Doug. There's nothing shady about it.
Now, it was really frustrating for the investigators to continue their investigation without any definite lead. 3 days after the discovery of Doug's lifeless body, on October 4th, 1994, detectives made a condolence call to Candace. During their conversation, she casually mentioned that she'd be burying Doug's body with his badge, which she'd retrieved from Doug's cupboard. This seemingly casual remark instantly set off alarm bells among the investigators, as police officers rarely leave their homes without their badges.
And we are going to bury him with the badge.
We were unable to locate any of his belongings, so we don't have his badge.
Well, I have his badge. It's right upstairs.
Suddenly, all the puzzling pieces of the case started falling into place. The contradictory statements from Candace, the fingerprints found on Doug's vehicle, and her overall suspicious behavior from the start.
He would have that. He wouldn't have left that.
If you have a badge, you do not leave home without it.
The spotlight now turned towards Candace, as the mounting evidence began to point a serious finger in her direction. Without wasting any time, he sought permission from Candace to conduct a thorough search as part of their investigation.
This is Overstreet. Do you mind if I check out the rest of the house, see if I can find anything that may help with the investigation?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
As they stepped into the couple's bedroom, a startling revelation awaited them. It seemed as though Doug's existence had been erased from the room. All his belongings were suspiciously absent.
There was no men's clothes, no underwear, no t-shirts. People just don't take their loved ones' clothes, get rid of them that soon after something happens.
The investigators' attention then turned to the carpet, which appeared to have been disturbed.
It's all really nice and neat. It's got brand new carpet on the floor. And step on something.
To their surprise, they discovered bloodstains on the exposed subflooring, raising even more troubling questions about the events that had unfolded within those walls.
I went back down the stairs, and I just pulled Captain Reynolds over to the side, and I said, Captain, I've found a couple things up here. I think there's something's happened in this house.
However, the police left the residence without disclosing their discoveries to Candace, and decided to exercise restraint as not to alert her. The next day, on October 5th, 1994, they obtained a search warrant. Upon their return, a more detailed examination uncovered substantial and noteworthy bloodstains, not only under the carpet, but in the whole house.
Obvious tampering had occurred in that bedroom, with a new carpet being laid that wasn't tacked to the floor.
We tore the carpet up, removed a piece of wood, and saw a large blood pattern.
The extent of these stains left no room for doubt. Further, the investigators stumbled upon 2 bullets which were concealed beneath the bedroom flooring, solidifying their evidence that Doug had met a violent end there at the house. By employing luminol, a substance that detects the presence of blood, they made another startling discovery: a lengthy blood trail which was leading from the bedroom to the basement. Their investigation took an even more chilling turn when they examined Candace's van. where they uncovered even more bloodstains suspected to have come from Doug. Based on their investigation, the police concluded that Doug had been shot inside the bedroom and subsequently dragged through the house before being placed into the van. Considering his sizable stature at 220 pounds, it was evident that the task of moving him would have required the involvement of at least 2 individuals.
Doug's a big guy. He's well over 200 pounds. And then they've got to get rid of his body.
In light of these findings, the authorities made the decision to bring in Candace and Brandy, Doug's stepdaughter, to the police department for further questioning.
It's time to get some answers, don't you think?
Keisha was not suspected as she was away with her friends on that fateful day, which her friends corroborated. Upon reaching the police station, Candace chose to remain silent and declined to engage with the authorities.
Really? That's all you have to say?
Meanwhile, in a separate room, Brandy was kept unaware of her mother's decision. The police strategically informed Brandy that her mother had confessed to the crime.
You interview this defendant and you interview that defendant, and then you learn stuff from this defendant, and then you can ask this defendant about, and vice versa.
Believing this information to be true, Brandy found herself compelled to share her side of the story with the investigators.
She's ready to talk. This is weighing on her.
We already know what happened in the house, Brandy. So it's time to come clean, Brandy.
According to Brandy, her mother had awoken her in the morning of September 25th, 1994, and revealed that she'd shot Doug during a heated argument.
She just laid in the bed and waited and waited. Finally, what seemed like a long time later, her mother came to her door.
Brandy, get up. Need you in my room.
Shockingly, Candace had even sought Brandy's assistance in moving Doug's lifeless body and driving it to the nearby lake, which was Lake Thermit. According to investigators, Brandy also revealed a startling confession from Candace. She disclosed that her mother had not only confessed to shooting Doug, but also admitted to using 2 different weapons in the act. In an attempt to dispose of the evidence, Candace had allegedly thrown the guns into a nearby river.
She'd go over a bridge and throw one gun in, and they drive a little bit farther, throw the next one in over another bridge into the water.
To further complicate matters and mislead the investigators, Candace devised a plan. She drove Doug's truck to the airport, with Brandy following closely behind in her own car. After their return home, they carefully cleaned up all the bloodstains, leaving behind no trace of the gruesome event. Justice finally caught up with Candace Overstreet on December 21st, 1994, when she was officially charged with 2 counts of felony murder. The motive behind the shocking crime remained shrouded in mystery, as Candace chose to keep it hidden from the world. However, her daughter Brandy played a crucial role in the case. In exchange for her testimony against her own mother, Brandy was granted immunity, a decision that helped bring closure to the investigation. Even after the final decision, the defense team for Candace Overstreet planned to present a shocking claim that Doug had been assaulting his stepdaughters. However, prosecutors thoroughly investigated these allegations and found no evidence to support such claims. From the very beginning of the investigation and through interviews with the stepdaughters, it was clear that Doug had been a loving and caring father figure. In order to protect Doug's reputation and preserve his memory, the prosecutors made a difficult decision. They allowed Candace to plead guilty to voluntary manslaughter instead. She received a 40-year prison sentence with a scheduled release date in 2034. However, unexpected news broke on December 1st, 2020, when it was revealed that Candace had been granted parole. This incident once again captured public interest in 2022, as Investigation Discovery, ID, a renowned true crime network, decided to shine a spotlight on it. This particular case stands out not only for its shocking nature, but also for the unsettling involvement of family members. The recent arrival of an ID production crew in Jonesboro sparked curiosity, indicating that the network is preparing to delve deeper into the details of this tragic incident for an upcoming true crime program. This intriguing true crime story serves as a reminder of the dark secrets that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly idyllic lives. What are your thoughts on this case? Do you think Candace deserved to be paroled? What could be the possible motive behind killing Doug Overstreet? We'd love to hear from you. If there's a case you'd like us to cover, don't hesitate to drop your recommendations in the comment section below. On June 14th, 2021, a courtroom in Los Angeles, California was filled with silence as an elderly defendant was wheeled in on a wheelchair, looking weak and fragile. Despite his frail appearance, the accusations against him were grave. This man committing horrifying crimes over many years, allegedly murdering multiple people. Prosecutors claim his influential status had led him to escape justice for a long time. However, now he was finally facing the charges, even though he was already close to death. It raises an important question. What serious crimes did he commit that led him to face the consequences until his last breath?
Where is my?
I was expecting it to be this big, like big.
No.
No, there is nothing. There is no terabyte hard drive. That's not $40.
He was part of the prominent Durst family.
They did
No,
have
they're
expensive ones.
His father, Seymour Durst, was a well-known real estate magnate, and his mother, Bernice Turstein, played a significant role in their family's life. Alongside his three younger siblings, Douglas, Tommy, and Wendy, Robert experienced typical sibling rivalry with Douglas, which led them to attend counseling sessions. Interestingly, a psychiatrist report of 10-year-old Robert from 1953 mentioned intriguing phrases like personality decomposition and the potential of even schizophrenia, which is a mental disorder characterized by disconnection from reality, including hallucinations, delusions, and disorganized thinking and behavior. Robert attended Scarsdale High School, where he was known to be a loner among his classmates. After graduating, he pursued a bachelor's degree in economics at Lehigh University, where he actively participated in the varsity lacrosse team and served as the business manager for the student newspaper, The Brown and White.
1 terabyte drives are fake. Packaging product was nice, but the honeymoon ends with a quick as we try to use it. They detect as 1 terabyte. Let me see. That's what they do. They will detect it as 1 terabyte and can be formatted for Windows or FAT, but not XOD, which is particularly relevant. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it dumps content. Your content, there are small flash drives, not 1 terabyte thumb drives. This is not. I'm telling you, that's not.
This is what.
Ma, you're not listening to me.
Wait, is this a review?
Yes, these are reviews of your product. It's a fake. I promise you. You got it from China. It's fake.
He dental hygienist residing in one of the buildings in New York owned by the Durst organization. They first met when Robert went to collect the rent. Kathy, a recent high school graduate who came from a lower middle-class modest Irish family on Long Island, had just arrived in New York City. With her sparkling beauty and strong work ethic, Kathy captivated Robert from the start. Despite Robert's reserved demeanor, Kathy found him to be a sweet and sensitive person. In the early 1970s, Robert arrived in
I'll have Brian look at all this because he deals with all that.
You're not understanding. Mom, I'm just as
Okay,
qualified.
but I know.
I tell you,
I know.
Fake, Mom. It's fake.
On his 30th birthday on April 12, 1973, the two decided to get married.
My very first impression of Kathy and Bobby when I met them was that they were in love. There was no choice about it. They were in love.
Their marriage started off as a loving one. Despite their significant age difference of 10 years and coming from contrasting backgrounds, Robert and Kelly found themselves entangled in a relationship. Robert, accustomed to wealth and privilege, and Kathy, hailing from an Irish Catholic family, seemed to be from two different worlds. However, Kathy was captivated by the allure and lifestyle that came with being associated with the Durst name. In 1973, under pressure from his father, Robert decided to close his health food store and decided to purchase a cottage in New York City in South Salem. He moved in with Kathy in the house he bought, but that's when their relationship took a noticeable turn. Kathy witnessed a significant change in Robert's behavior as he transformed into a completely different person from the man she'd fallen in love with in Vermont.
These experiences with her family were kind of like Bob meets the average American family.
Well, more than meet, Bob is forced to spend time with the average American family. Bob is supposed to be polite and cooperative and pleasant and engage in the same conversations that they are, and I just couldn't do that. As we're going back in the car, Kathy is crying and saying, they're all good people. They treated us with utmost respect. You can just put up with it for 2 hours.
Did you say I'll try?
I wouldn't talk about it.
Initially, Bob enjoyed showcasing Kathy at high-profile events.
Amazon is not a singular store, right?
Yeah, it's different people.
Yeah, you gotta look at the reviews. Especially when it comes to electronics and things that can easily be faked. You have to.
Now, where did you find? I'm trying to find the reviews on all these other
So
ones.
if you go there, you can see immediately off the bat, there's the rating, 1,682, and it has relatively good ones, 3.8. That means you can tell that it's probably pretty reliable. But let's see what they have to say. So click on it. This would not work. Files and pics would not load. Even though someone gave it 5 stars for whatever reason, they said it would not work. Buyer beware. This is the second one I purchased like this, but the first one from a different vendor. Do not buy a memory stick like this. It has multiple options. The first one had the USB portion fell apart. It worked fine for a moment, but once the USBs literally fell out, it never worked the same after telling me that this either this is unusable or just appears in the drive list. Someone says it's a great product. See, I wouldn't buy this one, honestly. I would not trust a 1 terabyte hard drive for anything less than
Well, there was a few people who had positive results.
Those
I
are probably
wanted to see these.
Those are probably scams.
Scam, yeah.
Scammers.
Yeah.
The reality was that becoming a doctor would provide her with financial independence, allowing her to have control over her own money and to spend your savings.
Of them were
As the marriage progressed,
less
Robert
than
had
2.6
a shocking
stars,
blow to
and
Kathy.
reviews were
He
negative.
revealed that he had no desire to
Negative, so
celebrate.
it only had like 1 or 2 stars,
Happy
or it had 35 stars.
and she channeled her sadness into her status. However, their relationship suffered a deep fracture that could never quite heal. In 1976, Kathy found herself pregnant, which triggered Durst's fury. He accused her of intentionally becoming pregnant and demanded that she undergo an abortion. With threats of divorce hanging over her, Kathy reluctantly went through with the procedure. Little did she know that this heartbreaking decision would send her spiraling into a whirlwind of grief and despair.
Kathy first started changing from the Kathy I met when I made her get an abortion.
February of 76. I found out I was pregnant. We used birth control and had at one time said if I was to become pregnant, I would have an abortion. The reality of the situation, however, was problematic for me.
I said, I told you from the beginning I didn't want children. You agreed that we wouldn't have children. Now you're telling me you're pregnant, which, you're in charge of that stuff, not me. And you want to keep the baby. Well, you keep the baby, you're going to get divorced from me. Period.
You sound like you were pretty adamant about it. And
I was strictly adamant. I just didn't want kids around. I didn't want to raise children. Somehow I thought it would be a jinx.
During that time, Kathy made a shocking discovery. She found hidden Polaroid pictures of their medicine cabinets and closets. When confronted, Durst admitted to bringing other women into their home, rearranging things to show that he lived alone, and using the photos to again place the things back where they'd been to cover his tracks. This revelation deepened the rift in their relationship, with Kathy bearing the brunt of the suffering alone. In the early months of 1982, 29-year-old Kathy was near the end of her medical studies at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, pursuing her dream of becoming a pediatrician. However, this was also a time filled with turmoil and pain. She sought medical attention for the visible bruises on her face and sought treatment at a Bronx hospital. She also revealed to a trusted friend that these injuries were inflicted by Durst, her husband, when she confronted him about his affair with Prudence Farrell, a well-known transcendental meditation guru and the sister of actress Mia Farrow, who inspired the song Dear Prudence. The combination of the demanding pressures of medical school and the constant psychological and emotional abuse took a heavy toll. She turned to excessive drinking and drugs as a means of
anything that they put on that device,
that
is just a vessel or whatever you can put on it. And if that is honestly not what a real product is, why would you trust them to not put something on it that they could upload onto your computer the second you put it in your computer? Think about it. Think about it. I'm not saying that's going to happen immediately, but it's a huge idea, and it does happen. You might be that one random fucking lucky person that they just steal all your data on your laptop. So I would not do that. I would not do that. If you really want to test it out, I would let your friend do it. Let him test it. I would not be the one to do that. I would not.
I'll try it on that computer over there. Wait, all I want to see is that if it gives me the other drive.
You
But
didn't realize that you saw what it just said there. That even though it will say it'll register 1 terabyte, you're going to start uploading things onto that drive. But once it reaches the actual limit, which will be like 250 megabytes or something like that, it's just going to start deleting your stuff off of the drive. All your older stuff, it will start deleting.
oh,
You get what I'm saying? So you're going to have something that says 1 terabyte on there, and you're going to start uploading all your shit. And it's going to say that it's full. And it's going to start saying that it's getting fuller and fuller and fuller. But what it's actually doing is deleting the older stuff and just uploading newer stuff. So let's say you save this video on it today, and then tomorrow you save a new video, and then the next day you save a third video, but it doesn't have enough space. It's going to delete that first video, and it's just going to say you have all 3 videos.
Oh, well, that's good. You know
No,
why?
that's not good.
Wait, no, because I want the videos to be deleted after
Mom,
I
all
upload
your
them.
data will be deleted. You're not hitting
Okay.
every single thing. Whatever is first in the upload, anything that you try to save on that will be deleted if you upload more stuff. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So don't do it. And that's if that's the best case scenario with this item right here.
Okay, I waited so long to
And
get
I'm
this
telling
thing.
you, don't do it because you didn't do your due diligence, and you're going to do something worse to your laptop right now, and then you're not going to have a laptop. Or even worse, you're going to have someone steal your identity or steal your laptop's information or lock your laptop down. That's all very possible things.
If they lock it down, that's the only thing that hurt me, steal my identity.
No, Mom. They will steal all your passwords. They will max out all your credit cards. They will purchase things. They will take out loans in your name. They will do everything. You have all that stuff stored on your laptop? Have you ever gone into your bank's website? Do you have your password saved on your bank's website on your laptop? They can get to your bank's password through that. That is literally what they can do by you sticking that in. Don't do that. I'm telling you. That is what they call a Trojan horse. It's one of the oldest viruses known to man. And if you willingly put that in your laptop, not only do you deserve it, that's how they will frame it. You deserve doing something so stupid for them to be able to do that to you. It's the oldest virus in the world. You get the name of it? Trojan horse?
Yeah.
Trojan horse. Don't do that. I'm telling you, it is literally like 90s, from the 90s, when you used to just get floppy disks from people and you put it in your laptop and you got a virus on your laptop.
Yeah.
That's a Trojan horse. Same concept, newer. Well, technically newer, in the 2000s. Okay, you get it? Don't do it. I'm telling you. If this is a scam and it is from China and it is not what it actually says it is, don't even try and test it out. Let your friend do it. If he has a safe way to do it, let him do it. Don't fuck with your personal computer. Not worth it. I'm telling you. It happens to people. People like you.
The day after she was last seen. However, the
and they're going to be real mad when you get a virus on that computer and it locks it down. And you start getting all these phone calls from credit agencies saying that you've been charged $5,000. You think it can't happen, Mom?
I believe it can happen.
You remember Devon, right?
Yeah.
His old boyfriend? He used to steal credit cards like that. I used to watch him do shit.
The building superintendent discovered
You have no idea how to do that. Don't fuck with that skit.
Kathy's
Let your
friends
friends
couldn't sit still
let
and
him
figure
figure
it
it
out.
out.
So
If
they
you
took
want to
matters
know
into
his
their own
life,
hands.
don't
In March 1982, they broke into Kathy and Robert's South Salem home, hoping to find any sign of her or any clue about where she might be. But what they found was shocking. The house was a complete mess, as if it had been turned upside down. Kathy's mail had been torn open.
Brenda just did Salisbury steak.
Her clothes, necklaces,
Brenda, she made Salisbury steak, mushrooms. Oh, she does good gravy.
Right away. Within 5 weeks at least of her disappearance. He knew she wasn't coming.
Peas and carrots, egg noodles, and mashed potatoes and gravy.
This discovery added another layer of intrigue to the already puzzling situation. In the itinerary, Robert provided a detailed account of everything he did on the night Kathy went missing and the following days.
A small trash can by the bed. And I just went in, picked it out, and there it was. I said, oh boy, that just sent chills down my spine.
Okay, so I gotta wait.
The handwritten note contains the words town dump, bridge, dig, boat, and what Robert Durst has admitted was his own handwriting.
Sounds like a wish list of what you do with the body to me.
So what'd you do with this letter once you found it?
We gave it to the police. They didn't want it.
Didn't want it.
They did not want it.
A friend shared this information with the lead detective working on the case, who found it unusual because innocent people typically don't feel the need to write down such a precise and minute-by-minute recounting of their activities.
I was comparing it to
While the
the
New
other
York police
ones,
investigated leads
different
of
ones, and looking at their reviews.
that higher-ranking officials were not pushing hard to solve the case. The investigation, which had only been going on for a few weeks, had already started to slow down. Usually, high-profile cases like this attract significant attention and pressure on the detectives, but that wasn't happening in this case. It seemed that the Durst family showed little concern about Kathy's disappearance and didn't cooperate with law enforcement. Robert himself refused interviews with the police, polygraph tests, and even answering basic questions, although he did give several
see what he's doing, he's wiping clean this computer.
Concerned and sympathetic husband,
and he's going to show me how to organize my documents, my videos, my photos.
Kathy had left him and was planning to run away with another man. Unfortunately, there was already limited evidence in Kathy's disappearance.
This is
and
the one that I have.
Evidence was ignored by law
I've been
enforcement,
recording all this time. Well, bye for now.
As a result, despite the initial attention and urgency, but eventually he had no choice but to agree. The police asked him about his travels, his connection to Susan's murder, and listened to his side of the story in their pursuit.